You know, you can probably see through my shirt. Yeah, green screen. Ohayou gozaimasu, Suicidalists! We got a lot to talk about on this week's episode of Cinema Suicide. This week, I'm going to talk to you all about the latest big deal anime to come out of Japan that's taken the West by storm, Attack on Titan. But before I get to that, some shit happened on TV this week that's actually worth talking about. So let's not waste any time. Let's do right into it. Here it is, the hotness. Hey, so this past Sunday marked the series finale of Dexter on Showtime after 8 seasons. And I'm over here trying to decide which series finale was actually worse, the Dexter finale or the Lost finale, and I'm being serious here. We are still, as of this recording, less than a week out of its original broadcast, so I won't go into any details since we're still technically in internet spoiler territory here, but just trust me when I tell you it was not pretty. Not even a little. I realize that it would be morally irresponsible to give the serial killer a happy ending, but Showtime has spent 8 seasons of television garnering sympathy for the serial killer and getting us to root for Dexter's mission and his cause because he's a bad guy out there killing guys who are even worse than he is. So, you know, why not just go full retard and give us a nice happy ending? Tie everything up neatly in the end with a bow. And what was with that tacked-on epilogue at the end? I mean, I've heard the rumors that this leaves the possibility open for a Dexter movie in the future, but you know what? Fuck that. There was supposed to be a Buffy movie, there was supposed to be an Angel movie, and we didn't get shit on those fronts. But you know, I guess we did get a Firefly movie. But you know what? Speaking of Joss Whedon projects, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. premiered this week, and to say that I have been excited for this series is to put things mildly. You know, in spite of a brief love affair with DC Comics in the late 90s, I was born and raised a Marvel fanboy, and I have very much been looking forward to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because of the possibility that this show will sort of be the gateway to introduce some of Marvel's B-listers and C-list characters, which I have a real soft spot for. I'm really hoping that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in future episodes introduces some of the sort of Marvel minor league players, and this pilot episode doesn't really do that. You get a totally made-up character in a sort of a setting that's not terribly familiar, but you know, it was a well-written, well-paced, it was funny. The only downside to it is that the cast is mostly unremarkable, with the exception of Clark Gregg as Agent Coulson, who's miraculously back from the dead, and that's part of the mystery, I guess. But you know, it is integrating the Marvel movieverse very well. There's references to the Avengers, there's references to Iron Man 3 in there as well, and I really get the feeling that the writing staff on this show kind of gets Marvel. So here's hoping. I'm really excited for future episodes of this. So there you go. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., on with the show. Here's Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan takes place in the future, presumably, or maybe it's the past. I you know, honestly have a hard time with this. Time and setting in anime can be a really complicated thing. But what you do need to know is that this takes place after the appearance of Titans have drastically reduced the population of Earth. Titans are these massive humanoid-type mutants that range in height from 4 to 60 meters. They're stupid, they're naked, and all they do is go around scooping up little humans and stuffing them into their stupid fucking mouths. Now, because they're so entirely difficult to kill and so huge, mankind has had no choice but to hide inside the perimeter of 3 50-meter walls. And because of this, they've managed to live in relative peace for about 100 years. That is, until the appearance of a new kind of Titan, one that they've never seen before. It lacks skin, it's just bone and muscle. And it's also really, really fucking big. Big enough to actually look over the tallest of the walls. It kicks a hole in the outermost wall, and all the Titans outside pour into the city, wreaking havoc. Now this takes our 3 heroes, Eren Yeager, Mikasa Ackerman, and Armin Arlert, and puts them directly in the path of the Titans as members of the military rush to fight the Titans, seal the hole, and learn the secret of the Titans, because even after a couple hundred years of hiding from them, humanity knows jack shit about them. Until last week, I'd never even heard of Attack on Titan. Until the PBS Idea channel featured it in one of their weekly episodes. And as it turns out, it's still an ongoing series in Japan, and it's actually about to wrap up very soon. It might even be wrapped up by the time you're seeing this video. But people here in the West are positively freaking out about it. The title is actually Shingeki no Kyojin, which I guess translates best as Advancing Giants, but that sort of thing isn't really going to sell well here in the West, so Attack on Titan it is. I have a passing interest in anime at best. It's something that I tried to get into when I was a teenager, and it was first starting to appear in American pop culture, but it just never really got its hooks in me the way that it has with younger generations. But, you know, even today, as anime becomes a real force of media here in the North America, there are plenty of people out there who still call it Japanimation, or, you know, they think it's nothing but this, or this, or even worse, this. You know, and nothing else. You know, it's those three things only. But, you know, this is just not true. I mean, anime, like its printed counterpart in manga, is a varied thing. You know, there's something for everybody. You just kind of have to look for it. And while not a whole lot of it has really appealed to me, and quite a bit of it I've actually thought was really, really stupid, there is plenty of anime and manga out there, particularly in the horror genre, that is very strange and very sophisticated. And Attack on Titan is one of those. And that is not to say that Attack on Titan is purely horror. In Japan, genre can be a little hard to nail down. You know, there's a lot of crossover, sort of genre pollination, and cultural flavoring that can make a distinction really hard to find. But at its most fundamental level, Attack on Titan is a zombie show, basically, where the last remnants of humanity sort of hide inside these walls, you know, trying to save themselves from a presence that vastly outnumbers them and greatly overpowers them and wants to eat them, physically eat them. Just leave it to the Japanese to add a really unique twist to a very tired trope. Attack on Titan suffers from a couple of problems that I tend to find in a lot of anime, in that our main characters, our heroes, Eren, Mikasa, and Armin, are really just kind of cookie-cutter anime characters. You know, Eren is hot-headed and emotional. He spends a lot of time yelling and screaming about purpose and conviction. Mikasa is the quiet and deadly type. She doesn't say a whole lot, but she's extremely brutal and efficient when it comes to killing Titans. And Armin is really smart, but he's also cowardly. It sort of freezes up in situations where he really needs to nut up and help out. You know, you've seen these characters in that order all together in a million anime before. You'll see them in a million anime to come. But thankfully that's not really all there is to Attack on Titan. This isn't really a character study. You know, also the animation and the art can be a little stiff when there's not a whole lot going on the screen. But when the action is happening, it is alive, it is hyperkinetic, it is badass. The soldiers fight on these machines, these apparatuses that they strap to themselves called maneuvering gear. That's sort of a gas propulsion system and a grappling hook and cable system that's really very novel and cool. So when they're fighting the Titans, they're sort of flying through the streets, swinging on cables like frickin' Spider-Man or something. It makes for some positively gripping action scenes. You know, and the Titans are really, really nasty and very scary. And not for reasons that you might think. I mean, they're just these giant humans, but they have, instead of like what you here in the West might be expecting with a sort of menacing expression and snarling and growling and screaming, you know, like zombies or, you know, werewolves and shit, they're just giant people with these stupid placid expressions on their faces, you know. They could be freaking out and roaring and, you know, and all that shit that we come to expect, but instead they're just friggin' smiling, and that's really creepy. It's one of the reasons why it's very off-putting and it is a little scary. What's more, Attack on Titan is characteristically deep of anime, spread out across 25 episodes, with I believe a 26th and final episode to go in the series. It is positively packed with action and mystery that really gives you a lot to think about, you know? About a third of the way through the show, a new kind of Titan shows up that really changes the rules of the game. And halfway through the entire season, the tone of the show shifts in such a way that they just go ahead and change the fucking theme songs. The theme songs of this show, by the way, are positively epic, soaring power metal, you know, the kind of power metal you only find in Japan. I defy you to listen to these theme songs and not get carried away. You know, the positives, the pros of Attack on Titan just go on and on and on. The scope of the human struggle on this show is so big that it's spread out across the entire human race, as opposed to shows like The Walking Dead or movies like Dawn of the Dead, which confine the struggle to a small group of people because it's manageable. Not so here. You know, we're talking about the survival of the entire human race, or at least what remains of them. This is our line in the sand. The stakes are incredibly high, and the writing is so good that it really conveys this idea that this is it. If we don't make it here, that we are extinct. You know, it's just that good. You can catch up with fan-subbed episodes of Attack on Titan if you're interested in checking this out here on YouTube. But I'm also told that you can catch up with them on Hulu, but I haven't actually confirmed this. Personally, I've been watching them on Crunchyroll, where the episodes are actually subtitled and released as they're released in Japan, so you get to see them as they come out. Not to sound like a shill or anything, but you can sign up for 2 free weeks of Crunchyroll, and then just binge through it in a single 24-hour marathon sitting. Not that you'd actually need that much time, I don't think. You know, it's an incredibly economical show with episodes running at about 20 minutes apiece once you cut out the really long episode recaps and the really long theme song and, you know, end credits sequence. You have no excuse. Check it out. Take my word for it. It is highly enjoyable if you like horror, if you like anime, if you like manga. Do check it out. So, have you seen Attack on Titan? Let me know down in the comments what you think. I mean, I'm willing to bet that you're probably gaga over it, since everybody seems to like it. And also, if there's any kind of anime or manga that you think I'd like, you think I need to check out, might change my mind about the medium, please put it down in the comments. Let me know. I'm very interested in this sort of thing, as always. You know, don't forget, follow the Cinema Suicide Tumblr, follow me on Twitter, join the Suicidal Facebook. And if you got a minute, check out my Patreon profile. If you got a spare dollar, you know, throw it in the pot there. Your contribution, your support of Cinema Suicide, Patreon, is always, always, always appreciated. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you next Friday.